Okay, so now we're at the Classic. It's the featured race for the Breeders' Cup weekend. It's going to be the eighth race on Saturday's card. This will not be the last race. Important to note that, particularly for your sequence betting. Running a mile and a quarter at Del Mar. And we're going to start by taking a look at the field. And what we'll do is we're going to go through each individual horse, and then we will look at the key prep races for the Breeders' Cup. So this will be sort of a combination of wagering strategy and handicapping, as well as race replay analysis, since we're getting close to the Breeders' Cup. All the postings we're going to have, incidentally, afterwards will be handicapping the individual races and wagering strategy. So here's our field, and we look at likely City of Troy, the English import, or Irish, is going to be the favorite, although he's never run on dirt. And, of course, that'll be the big question. Fierceness, who won the Travers and really seems to have solved the problems with inconsistency. And Forever Young, who, with a little racing luck, probably would have won the Kentucky Derby. So those will be our three. And then, of course, we have some hardliners, some repeat performers, Senior Buscador, Derma Sotogaki, and Ushpa Tesoro. Three that we've seen at the highest levels throughout the majority of the career. And then we've got some 3-year-olds as well. Sierra Leone, the late runner. We've got City of Troy, Forever Young, and so it's a Fierceness. So it's a very diverse field, and it should make for a really good betting race. So individually, let's take a look at, we'll start with Forever Young. And this is a horse that I really like in this spot. This track should play very well to a horse who's as athletic as Forever Young is. It's a tight track. It's a short stretch. It's tight turns and a small track. And that favors horses like Forever Young. But for Sierra Leone's quirkiness, Forever Young probably would have won the Kentucky Derby, first time for the Japanese. This horse is the only race he didn't win was the Kentucky Derby. He's just a really good goer. The distance isn't going to be a problem. The rail is a little bit of an issue because he sometimes has issues out of the gate. But if any horse can overcome that, I think Forever Young can. And he should be able to tactically save ground and get into a good position. And I really like Forever Young in the Breeders' Cup. Second is Highland Falls, who won the Jockey Club Gold Cup, running down Arthur's Ride. This is a horse who's improved steadily through the course of his career. And Brad Cox is just ridiculous at the Breeders' Cup. He wins at 26%. That's twice as much as Bob Baffert, Chad Brown, Todd Pletcher, or Bill Mott. He really knows how to get his horses ready for the Breeders' Cup. I like this one's running style. I like the fact that he's getting progressively better, and he's coming into this race fresh. He's going to be right there. And then the question will be whether he can take it to another level. And at 20-1, I think he offers some outstanding value. And I think this is a horse we have to take very seriously. City of Troy is, the big question is, can he run on dirt? Well, he is by Justify. And certainly that's the appeal for those that like this horse, is that, Justify won the Triple Crown on dirt, so why can't City of Troy run on it? Well, that's all very well and good, and it's true. This horse has nothing left to prove on dirt. His last two starts, the only thing left he had to prove was, can he beat older horses, and he did. He won the John Mudd International and the Eclipse Stakes, but we're running this on dirt. And here's my issue. The horses who have been turf superstars, who have run on dirt successfully, most notably Giants Causeway, Saki, or Galileo, all had dirt pedigree on both the sire and the dam. City of Troy has dirt pedigree on the top. He's got all grass on the bottom. And the dam is the one that determines the class in which horses race. It's a just a general example. Secretariat was by Bold Ruler. Bold Ruler had mile type of speed. He did not have stayer speed. He had greasy, fast mile speed. A lot of people weren't sure Bold Rulers could run at a mile and a quarter or more for that reason. But Something Royal His Dam was by Prince Akil, and Prince Akil could run all day. And that was a very classy mare, and consequently, Secretariat was very good at classic distances on dirt. So, to me, the big question is that when you have a mare who's so dominated by grass with her pedigree and all her get and whatnot, that tells me that City of Troy is probably going to have some problems on dirt. Yes, he worked out on synthetic, but as we know, turf horses can run on synthetic. It's not the same as dirt. I'm not taking the chance with it. And at 5-2, I think that's a major league underlay. I'm not risking it. I'm not gonna bother with City of Troy for that reason. For those of you who want to give it a go, I don't blame you. Why not? I mean, he's certainly a phenomenal horse, but I just think this is a really tall order, especially around a small, tight track like Del Mar. So then we have Mixto, who won the Pacific Classic. Not a very good version of that race whatsoever. A horse who ran a race, the speed figure, the Brisnet figure came back exceptionally higher than anything he had run before. And now you're putting him in a race that he's the classiest race, the highest class level race. And I think this horse is just simply outclassed, and I'm going to let him go. He's probably going to bounce. Senior Buscador, what can you say about him? He won the Saudi Cup earlier in the year, not the Dubai World Cup. Sorry about that. This is a horse, again, it's a small, tight track that doesn't favor closers. And I really think Senior Buscador is up against it here. He is coming in third off the layoff, which is a good angle for Todd Fincher. And he's got the best closer rider there is in Joel Rosario. Those are all positives. This horse is 0 for 5, I believe, at a mile and a quarter. And he seems to be a horse that's better at shorter distances. So to me, can he get into the money? Sure. And I can certainly see it at a 30-1. Why not think about him in those terms? But as far as a win candidate, don't think so. Not at Del Mar. Dermasotagaki, to me, is a tweener. We know what he can do. He was on my tickets in the Breeders' Cup Classic last year, and I was thankful to get paid because I thought he'd run a pretty good race. Problem is that he really, it's hard to know what you're going to get with him because he came off such a long layoff last year from the Kentucky Derby, and boom, he walked into the Breeders' Cup Classic and he ran second. But again, he's a horse coming from off the pace, and I'm not sure he's fast enough at this point in his career to win this race. So to me, he's sort of a tweener. I can kind of go either way with him, but I'm leaning towards just letting him go because to me, he's too hard to read for me, especially with Christophe Lemaire as the jockey who likes to be aggressive. And it just seems like there's a few things working against Dermasotagaki, but I can go either way with him, but underneath would be the most I would go with him. Ushba Tesoro, what can you say about a horse who has 3 second-place finishes this year for $6 million and didn't win any races? That's pretty darn impressive. We know this one's going to bring it. He does every time. But again, he's in a situation where there's a lot of things working against him on the track, and he may have lost a little something off the fastball. I had him last year in the Breeders' Cup Classic. I thought he was going to win, but it was my mistake because Santa Anita doesn't favor closers, and I knew that going in, and I went with him anyway. I just thought he was the hot horse. Well, I'm not going to make that mistake again. I just don't think things set up well for him, but there's no denying his consistency, and I think he certainly will run his race. I just don't think it's going to be good enough to win, but in the money, absolutely. Pyrenees is a horse that seems like when he does well, it's conditional. That's what bothers me about this horse, and I just don't think he's fast enough. He's certainly a horse who's been getting better for Cherie DeVaux, and I think he'll run the best he can. Whether that's good enough, I don't know. That's really what it comes down to. And if I have a question like that, uh, then I would probably look towards either leaving him off my tickets or underneath for the try. But as a win candidate, no. Fierceness, I think, has a lot of things working in his favor here. I think they've solved the mercurial nature of his running and the inconsistency. If anybody was going to do that, Todd Pletcher would. I think he's got a good situation here. I think he's got a track that's very favorable to the way he runs. It's small, it's tight for an athletic horse. He's got an outside post, which, as we know, keeps him out of trouble. I don't think he's got anybody really to the inside, save for maybe Forever Young, that's going to impede him from getting to where he wants to in this race. Arthur's Ride is certainly going to be from the 12-hole cutting across, and will likely get to the lead. But we'll talk about why I don't think there's a lot of things working against Arthur's Ride here. So Fierceness, to me, will be in a really good position. And then the question is he good enough? And I think he is. I think he's certainly a horse that is a bona fide win candidate for this spot. And if he runs his top effort, I think he'll win the race. So he is definitely a win candidate for me. Conversely, Tapit Trice, I don't want any part of in this race, and here's why. First of all, he's a goofball, and he hasn't changed that since his 3-year-old campaign. How he didn't win the Jockey Club Gold Cup is a mystery to me. He had everything his way. He had the rail. He saved all the ground. He was in perfect position, and for some reason, he just couldn't sustain it. I don't think he really knows what he's supposed to be doing on the track. And top it all off, now you're taking a big, non-athletic, lumbering horse who can run, who has a big turn of foot without a doubt, but he's not handy and he's not athletic. And you're putting him on a small, tightly wound track. That's absolutely a recipe for destruction for this horse. Could he get the money? Sure, but I'm not going to bank on it because I don't think he even. And the big problem to me with Tapits and Tapit Trice in general is just that it's between the ears. I just don't think he understands what he's supposed to be doing, and when he's on his game and when things are right for him, he's devastating. But it just doesn't happen often enough for me. And to me, he's a toss in this race. Now we come to Sierra Leone, another big horse with a lot of talent. And between the two of them, between Tapit Trice and Sierra Leone, I think Sierra Leone has a better chance to get into the money. But again, a small, tight turn track for a big horse who's generally run on big tracks. I just don't think this sets up well for him. He's going to have to bank a lot harder than he normally does. And plus, you top that off with the fact this horse hasn't won since the Bluegrass on a big track with a long stretch. Now he's on a small track with a short stretch. There's just, to me, a lot of things working against Sierra Leone here. Can he get the money? Sure he can, without a doubt. But that's the extent of it. I just think that logistically, there's a lot of things working against Sierra Leone here. Arthur's Ride, we know what he wants to do. And he'll do it. He's going to hop out of the gate, cross over, and get to lead. But he's another big horse on a small track. And I'm sorry to have to keep harping on that, but I think it's really something we got to pay attention to. That's very, very important is that Del Mar is a very different track than a lot of these horses that run on. They're used to running on big tracks with wide turns that are easy to negotiate. And now you're just flipping that over and asking them to do what they haven't really, most of them haven't done before. And Arthur's Ride is a horse that, he's, if they let him loose, he can win this race. He can. But do you really think that's going to happen with Fierceness and Forever Young right on his throat latch? I don't think so. I don't think they're going to let him get away. Highland Falls will be right there too. And now they know how to beat him. It's just menace him and never let him relax. And for those reasons, I'm going to let Arthur's Ride go in this case. So now we come to Newgate. Newgate is interesting for Bob Baffert. He really seems to be only Bob Baffert's the only prominent horse, one of older horses anyway, at Del Mar on the West Coast. This is a horse who has a positive record at Del Mar. Won the big cap at Santa Anita, finished third in the California Crown. I just worry about the class level. I'm just not sure he's good enough. That's really what it comes down to. I think this horse, Newgate, will run his race. He appears works-wise. He's ready to go. I'm not worried about any of that. He's going to run his race. I just don't know if it's good enough to be the very best in this race. I think he's a horse you can be very comfortable putting under, but that would be the extent of my interest in Newgate. And now we come to next, which to me is a better story than City of Troy. This is a horse who just is absolutely dominating in his division. There is no better marathoner than Next, and that's been proven over and over again. Can he get a mile and a quarter? Of course. No problem there. Dirt, turf, it doesn't matter. But what does matter here? Well, you're asking a horse who has a really high cruising speed, who wins his races mainly because he can just cruise at a good speed longer than his opposition. And I stress the term cruise. Does he have tactical, greasy, fast speed? No. He's a stayer. He's a true stayer. Now you're asking him to go against horses who have tactical speed. Forever Young, Fierceness, Highland Falls. It doesn't set up on a small track with tight turns once again. There's a lot of things working against Next. However, is he classy? You bet he is. Can he get into the money? Absolutely. But in the clinches towards the end of the race, I just think there'll be others that are faster. And that's really what's going to come down to for me. This is a really nice horse. I like him a lot. It's hard not to like him. I'd love to see a trainer like Doug Cowens for a smaller outfit get the gold here, but I think underneath would be the extent of my interest with Next. So now we're going to look at the prep races. So the first one we're going to look at is the Kentucky Derby, and you'll note the numbers, just so I'll explain those. This will be the same for all the race replays. The number on the left is the post position for the Classic. So Forever Young, number 1, Sierra Leone, number 11, Fierceness, number 9. Then, of course, their finish in the Kentucky Derby, and then the bracketed numbers represent their post position in the Kentucky Derby. So let's have a look at that. So here we go with the Derby.
They're up in the Kentucky Derby. Fierceness had an okay start. He came away in the middle of the pack. Track Phantom will go to the early lead, and now John Velasquez gets Fierceness into the mix. Stronghold is there. Epic Ride goes up on the far outside. Just Steel is close up too as they race past the first time. And then comes Mystic Dan down on the inside of West Saratoga. Resilience is next. Then comes Society Man on the outside of Just a Touch, catalytic along the rail. Dornick is next, saving all the ground into that turn. Then comes Domestic Product. Rambo the first. Then Japan's Forever Young down on the inside. As 3 horses meet. They are CO Password, Honor Marie, and Endlessly. So this important half mile coming up here. They've run that first half in 46.63 seconds. Paces even enough, not flying. Track Phantom the leader. Just Steel perched up on the outside second. Fierceness is third just outside of them. Then Stronghold, Mystic Dan to the inside. Epic Ride 3 wide. West Saratoga in behind that group. Then Stronghold, he's got 7 lengths to make up. Look back for Sierra Leone, he's still about 14 lengths behind. As Track Phantom passes the half-mile pole with the lead. And Fierceness is moving now. And going right with him is Just Steel. The 3 of them across the track. Then long shot Epic Ride. Mystic Dan toward the inside. Stronghold is next. Then Fierceness. Sierra Leone and Forever Young still with work to do. Forever Young is starting to pick it up as they come toward the top of the stretch. It is Fierceness who's moving up on the outside of Track Phantom. And there on the far outside. Here comes a run from Stronghold and Resilience. And Resilience has now moved up to take the lead. As Fierceness is given way. Coming by the 16th hole. And Mystic Dan is
You see Sierra Leone just really impeding Forever Young and Mystic Dam was the benefactor for sure. Damn it. Forever Young should have won that race. Next, we'll look at the Jockey Club Gold Cup. And again, Highland Falls, 2 in the British Cup Classic. He was 6 in the Jockey Club and won the race. Pyrenees, number 8 in the Classic, but was 2nd in the Jockey Club Gold Cup and 5th, or number 5, post. And finally, Tapatrice, who was 10th in the Classic, but is on the 1 hole for the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
They're in the gate.
So here's the Jockey Club.
And they're off in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
You see Arthur's Ride, pretty keen to be on the lead, and Highland Falls just not going to let him go. And Tapatrice down at the rail, spotting them about, 5 lengths? But on the rail, gets right up. Now, this is my qualm. It's like Tapatrice is in about as perfect a spot as you could be. And you see Highland Falls just not going to let Arthur's Ride rest. And Tapatrice should have taken advantage of this, you would think, when you got 2 horses kind of dinging and donging on the front end. But he just doesn't do it. And she just kind of lets them get further away to the point where the edge he had, the opportunity to capitalize, is kind of gone.
It's a beautiful trip for Tapatrice, bounding along in 3rd, 4 lengths off that pair. Disarm has made it into 4th inside Pyrenees. Butcher drops out. Bright Future is last. The Whitney winner, Arthur's Ride, is being tested hard by Highland Falls. Highland Falls puts his head in front of Arthur's Ride. Tapatrice and Pyrenees are coming after them. Pyrenees hugging the rail and making good ground.
And here comes Pyrenees, but that's kind of a non-factor second to me.
Highland Falls and Arthur's Ride are head in head with Pyrenees, just 3 lengths.
And really, if Pyrenees was faster, he should have been able to pass both of them, and he just isn't. And that's kind of my qualm with Pyrenees.
Now Highland Falls has put away Arthur's Ride. Pyrenees moves into 2nd. It is Highland Falls. What an accomplishment.
But don't want to take anything away from Highland Falls. He was definitely the best horse that day.
Pyrenees was 2nd.
So now we'll look at the California Crown, where we had Newgate, 13 in the Classic, number 1 in the California Crown, and Senior Buscador, number 5 in the Classic, and 6 in the California Crown at Santa Anita. Okay, so here's the California Crown. See a small field.
Presented by Sir Davis American Whiskey. And it was a smooth beginning as Subsonador flashes speed. National Treasure in between horses up to take the lead, and Katona now takes 2nd. Muth is outside of that pair, and Subsonador will now settle in 4th just in front of Newgate. Senor Buscador is at the back wall, racing well off the rail. It's National Treasure, uncontested now. Opens up a 2-length lead on Katona in 2nd. Muth inches up outside Subsonador. Those two stride for stride and only 2 lengths off of National Treasure. Newgate is close, and under a very firm hold is Newgate with 4 lengths to make up. He's 4 in front of Senor Buscador. Flavian Pratt and National Treasure past the 5/8 pole, in charge, 1.5 lengths to Katona in 2nd. Muth red cap 3 deep in 3rd. At the rails, Subsonador with Newgate just behind him, still 4 lengths off the lead with less than a half mile to travel in the California Crown. Senor Buscador is now 8 lengths off the pace, which has been set by National Treasure. National Treasure every step of the way to Katona. Muth on the outside gets his cue. At the rails, Subsonador still 4, not much change in the running order since the gate opened. National Treasure carving out all the fractions, still well within himself at the top of the stretch. And he turns for home with a 2-length lead. Subsonador comes out to chase him home. And in the center of the track, Newgate is bearing down in 3rd. Here comes Newgate with big strides after National Treasure, Subsonador, and you get three of them line up in an absolute thriller. Subsonador in between horses. Here's the line. Subsonador and Mike Smith to win the California Crown Stakes, presented by Sir Davis American Whiskey in a blanket photo with National Treasure.
Next, we're going to take a look at the Travers Stakes, which was, of course, certainly the most exciting race of the summer. You have Fierceness, number 9 in the Classic, number 8 in the Travers, and Sierra Leone, number 11 in the Classic, and number 2 in the Travers. So here we go with the Travers.
In the DraftKings Travers, and it was a beautiful beginning. And a quick one.
So you see Fierceness again on that outside post, and Sierra Leone stuck on the inside. Not as important for a closer, really, but for Fierceness, most important is he is unencumbered and right where he wants to be, just off the leaders.
Who's in control early. Opening up to lead it by 2. Dornick in a nice tracking position. Second, Torpedo Anna tucked in on the fence. Third, Fierceness fourth with 3.5 to make up. The opening quarter went in 23 and 2/5 seconds. Unmatched Wisdom is a bit of a handful. He wants to be closer. He's off the pace today, 4.5 lengths off the speed. Honor Marie is 3 deep as they make their way onto the backstretch. Corporate Power in between horses, and Sierra Leone is inside of that pair, and in fact now in front of both of them. Batten down. Leads the way by a length over Dornick. With Fierceness.
You see, they're trying to get Sierra Leone more engaged a little earlier, which I think they're definitely going to have to do at Del Mar.
48 seconds flat. Behind them, Unmatched Wisdom. Sierra Leone has 6 lengths to make up. 3 in front of Corporate Power and Honor Marie. Dornick coming at Batten down now. They're on even terms, with Fierceness looming 3 wide. Torpedo Anna is 4, just 2.5 lengths off the pace, and Sierra Leone is revving up 5th. He's 4 lengths off the new leader, Fierceness, 3/4 in 1:11 and 3.
And it's always nice to see a closer who can get engaged earlier in a race, and I think that is a positive for Sierra Leone for sure. But they just can't get to Fierceness. Grizzly Bear was close, but
Torpedo Anna running her heart out and coming with every stride. Fierceness, Torpedo Anna in an absolutely dramatic conclusion. The champ is back.
Great race.
Fierceness holds off a gallant Torpedo Anna to win the DraftKings Travers. Sierra Leone was third.
Last one we're going to look at is the Nippon TV High. And that has Ushba Tesoro, who is 7 in the Classic, number 4 in the Nippon TV High. Derma Sotogaki, who's 6 in the Classic, and number 7 in the Nippon TV High. So here's the Nippon TV High, and look at that surface. It looks like they're running on snow. You see Derma Sotogaki is just off the leader there. And Ushba Tesoro customarily at the back. There's Ushba. This race to me is what's disappointing about Derma Sotogaki. He's right off the throat latch of the leader, and tactically in really good position. He just couldn't capitalize on it at all. And you see this is Ushba making this late run. And Derma's just kind of flattening out, but Ushba's making his big run. Not quite enough, though. So we've looked at the field, and now we've assessed it from the race replays. We've taken a look at the key ones, and here's what we just looking at the race shape. You can see we have quite a few horses who want to be up near the lead, and I think that's tactically going to be very important, particularly at a track like Del Mar. And don't want to belabor it. We've already talked about that. From this mix, I think Forever Young is the one to beat. If he can overcome the rail post and get into a good tactical position, which I think he can, we'll have to break a little better, but I think he can probably overcome a subpar break. A poor one, probably not, but a subpar one he probably can. And I just think he's a really cool horse, and I think things set up very well for him. Highland Falls, I think, is in really good form, and I'm not going to discount a horse for Brad Cox, given his success in the Breeders' Cup. And I think he's got Highland Falls peaking at the right time. Whether or not it's good enough, I don't know. But I think he's a horse at 20-1. You certainly have to consider. I think Fierceness looms a really major threat here. Being to the outside post, I think without a lot of real heavy-duty speed to his inside, should allow him to get into good position. And I think that he, if he runs his race, that's always the question with Fierceness. But I think they've overcome the inconsistency issues with a Jim Dandy and a Fierceness and a Travers that were both solid. I think he's in the catbird seat. He's got a track that's very favorable to the way he runs. Newgate, you saw running in the California Crown. He had every chance to win that race and did not. And I think that speaks more to his quality than it does anything else. I think he's going to be right there. I think he'll be moving late. I just don't think he's quite good enough to win this, but at 20-1, I love him underneath in the exotics. We're going to throw Nex in there for the classiness. He's just a classy horse who will keep running. And for that reason alone, we'll keep him in. But you see the asterisk, I think underneath is probably the extent of my interest with him. Pyrenees with a price is one, again, for underneath I'll think about. Same thing with Ushba Tesoro. Being a late runner, they're both kind of disadvantaged by being at Del Mar, but they do have quality, and it'll be price dependent on either of them. I don't want anything too low on Ushba Tesoro. So we take a look from there at our wagering strategy. I like Forever Young to win it, and that's who I will bet on. Hopefully we'll get something commensurate with 6-1. Probably not, but we'll hope. And I think Fierceness is the logical second choice. So we'll go 1-9 cold, and then we'll box them in an exacta. Then we'll do a key box with one on top with Highland Falls, Fierceness, and we'll throw Newgate in there. So one with 2, 9, 13. And then we'll do a wheel with one on top with 2, 7, 9, and 13. And if we do get things favorable to us, we get 1 and 9 in that order, then we get paid 4 times. And that's, of course, always what we want. Trifecta, we'll do one on top with 2, 9, and 13 in second, and then 2, 7, 8, 9, 13, and 14. So we'll throw in the later runners, Ushba Tesoro, Pyrenees next, and Newgate as potential horses that can get up for third. I think this is going to be a really good betting race. This is going to be a fun race to watch, but I think it is a race that will be won by horses who are tactical, who are athletic, and will be up and near the lead. And I think Forever Young fits the bill with all of those factors. So that's who we're going to go with. So that's the classic. We got the replay analysis and wagering strategy combined. As I mentioned, uh, opening up, all the postings we're going to have from here until the Breeders' Cup will be handicapping wagering strategy posts for each individual race. So be on the lookout for those. I hope this presentation helps you with your own research for the Breeders' Cup and your own wagering strategy, and I'll wish you the best of luck. It's going to be a really fun 2 days of racing. If you do like content like this, of course, please like and subscribe, and thanks to all of you who have recently come on board, as well as our existing community. Nice to see it growing. Nice to have you all on board for the end of the season, and looking forward to next season, which will continue to provide content for you. That's it from here. I'll talk to you soon, and until then, be well.